They told me to put the lid on my water. So I did. Joe said, you're gonna spill it.
I was going to ask you, where were you in 1956?
I was in Winoka, Oklahoma, living with my grandma and grandpa, Oxford. He worked on back in the day they had cabooses on trains. And that's what he did. Rode the caboose. I don't remember, but I have some cousins who are, I don't know, maybe 4 years older than me. And they remember, but that's what it is.
Well, I didn't exist yet in 1956.
Yeah, I know.
So, it was 1956 in a town called Ipswich in the county of Suffolk in the country of England. There was a young British girl, I'm mentioning names. She worked at a department store, and I think it was Wednesdays. They had a half day. So on Wednesdays, her and her friend, at least on this particular day, went up to the second floor of the department store to have lunch at the Continental Cafe. So they were sitting there having lunch. Got your glasses? I got mine.
Yeah, I got mine.
Having lunch, and across the way there were two U.S. Air Force guys. And you know how they are, right? When you get around British women. So, of course, I wasn't here. This is all hearsay. So, they come over and they talk to these two gals, and they chit-chat together and so on and so forth. And then I guess they said goodbye because of those cell phones. You couldn't, pretty much couldn't save numbers. So the next day, this young lady, she had to do a fashion show for the department store she worked at. So she was up there fashioning, and out in the audience, lo and behold, was this guy named Eddie Red.
Yep.
You know who he was?
I do, yeah. We never called him Eddie. We called him lots of things, but Eddie wasn't one of them. Yeah, that's right. It was our pop.
Yeah, that's right. Very good. So, between that little relationship, this beautiful, intelligent, well,
You have a twin?
it's my turn to talk about was born. And it was me. I can tell that description fits very well. But, when people are young, they just kind of do whatever they think is right, even when it's wrong. And it just ended up not working out for several reasons. And Eddie had to go back to the United States. And that was kind of the last we heard of him.
Was he in handcuffs when he had?
That was only 3 months
Oh, that's
old.
right. Oh, yeah.
It's only 3 months old.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm doing the best I can.
I'm sorry.
So, our lives all went on. Eddie's life went on, and picked up where he kind of left off when he came to England, and these two families went on about their way and dealt with all their sorrows and troubles and joys, just like the rest of us do. And then every now and then, Mom would say something about, your dad. And of course, I had a dad who adopted me, Thornton Gillis, and he took care of me, fed me, clothed me, did all things that he was supposed to do, did a great job of that. But in the back of my mind, there was this little thought about this other man who was my biological father. And I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about it because I was young, trying to figure out my own life. But then about 4 years ago, Mom called me and said, I found a lady named Red in Oklahoma, on Facebook, I think it was, and she said, it might be somebody. Was it you?
Get you to turn the sound up a little.
I sure can.
What do I do? Thanks, Justin. Big hand for Justin there.
No, because we're going to lose some weight.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, cool.
Turn me up, Justin. I have to be heard. How's that? Is that any better? Did you find it?
It's a lot better. And he
If
has
you need to turn the gain at the top of my vocal, maybe that might do it. How about that? Is that better? Okay. Do I need to start from the beginning? It's a good story. I've been doing it.
Make sure you're not louder than me, though. That's kind of going to be important.
I don't think that's possible for me. So I go searching on Facebook. I sign up, get a Facebook page, and start searching through these red people. And I came across this girl. Her name was Nadine. And my wife goes, "She looks just like you." So luckily she had an open.
That was frightening, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, my first thought was, I hope she doesn't have any brothers.
I think it was the hair. I think that's what. That's long, yeah.
That's a good line for a song. So, with the magic of the internet, and this was a New Year's Eve actually, by the time midnight had come and gone and into the next morning, I'd actually been able to track pretty much everybody down. I found out that, if I'm correct, your mom and Eddie were married in Clovis, New Mexico, of all places.
Yeah, of all places,
Yeah,
right?
right down the road.
Frightening.
And she was from Spearman,
Yep.
Spearman, Texas. So all this stuff happens 3,000 miles away, and we all end up basically in the same area of the country.
Yeah.
And that's the whole story that, I'll write a book about how I got here. But anyway, so I started picking around and found out that at that point I had 4 brothers and a sister named Amy. And I got the information and made sure as best I could these were the right people, and showed Mom a picture of Eddie, and she said, "Well, it's been a long time, but yeah, that's him." So I sat on it for 4 years. We just kind of check in and see what was going on with the Reds. And
Sat on it. What he's trying to tell you is he stalked us for 4 years. He doesn't want to say that because that's a crime.
after stalking them, yeah, it was a crime. So about 4 months ago, I called my wife Amanda over. There were several people that said, "You need to tell me. You need to let these people know that you're here." And I thought, no. Well, how would you feel if some odd guy shows up out of nowhere and says, "I'm your brother, your half-brother, and your dad was in England," and so on and so forth. But finally one night, Jeffrey had already passed away at this point, and I got to thinking, none of us are getting any younger. Maybe it's time we all knew what was going on. So I hit the friend request button for Nadine's Facebook page. And of course, when you hit the friend request, there's really no turning back. Because if you try to unfriend the friend request, they're going to know something's going on. So I let it ride. And she got right back and friended me. And I said, "Okay, my name is Joe Davis. I'm going to tell you a story about a young Air Force man in England in 1956. His name is Edward Maxfield Red. Are you interested?" She said, "Yes. Tell me what you got." So I told her the story, and within 15 minutes we were all buddies, and we all wanted to see each other, and that's how it kind of got started. Of course, along the way I found out that one of my brothers was a musician, and once I found out he was pretty good, I thought he'd be worth getting in touch with.
Now he's not sure.
Finally met, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
3 weeks ago we finally met each other. And 3 weeks ago we sat on the back of his porch and the first time picked a few tunes. So this will be the second time we pick these tunes.
Yeah. It'll probably going to sound like it too.
This time we pick these tunes.
We don't really care, do we, Joe?
Y'all paid, so Maggie did feed us well, didn't he? Fed us well and gave us a good place to sleep, so we know if we go broke. Yes.
Always.
Okay, well, I'm done with my part.
Well, mine is pretty much that. No, it was, when I think my sister, Nadine, and she couldn't be here. It was I think she sent me this note, and she told me that our mom, Frances, on her deathbed, told her this story, the story that Joe just told you. And Nadine, then later on, she told me this story. She goes, "Maggie, did you know?" And I go, "No, I had no idea, And so I knew the story. And then when I got this little message from Joe, I thought, wow, this is he tells me that his mama said that when Eddie was there in Ipswich, that he was just a sweetheart. She just fell in love with him, obviously, but he was a sweetheart, that he didn't cuss, and he didn't drink, and he didn't smoke, he didn't do any of those things. This is Joe's telling me this story, and I said, Joe, we're going to need a DNA test. This is not the same man I grew up with. And so our first encounter and meeting was, just kind of typing back and forth. And I remember Kath, she goes, when we were done, I don't know, it was a couple days later that you called. I called you either way.
Called me.
Yeah, called, and we visited, and we talked, and I told him a few stories. And so when we were done, Kathy goes, Matthew, are you okay? And I thought I was. But I kind of wandered around for the next few days, kind of like, wow, this guy's been stalking me for 4 years. Yeah, it was frightening. Yeah. And then when I saw his picture, I went, holy crap, he looks just like me.
And for that, I was eternally sorry.
Yeah, so it was, it kind of set us back. And, as among siblings, our other brothers and sister, I visited with them a little bit. And they were a lot like me, a little shocked, not surprised. We don't think there's any other Joes out there, but it was, who knows? But and Joe and I talked about that too, because I met Joan for the very first time here this evening, and she was very sweet. She said not everyone would accept my son, and she would have. And I guess she's probably right. I guess there are still jerks in the world that they don't that they would be that way, but we just got along, and thank God he plays music. But when we pulled out the banjo, I thought, I'm gonna visit, make sure that he wasn't adopted all the way around. Never expected to have a banjo player.
I sent you a picture.
Yeah, I know that. And then I went, we need a DNA test. That's right. So it's been a wonderful time. A couple of weeks ago we got to spend some time together, and it's been a hoot. And honestly, this is the second time we've ever played together. So we're going to do a few tunes for you.
No, you have to say first time, because I advertised this first time. So.
I'm sorry, it was the first time we played together. Yeah, well, that way you can't get your money back. We both agree with that. So we're gonna do some tunes for you. Some it's kind of fun, kind of funny how when how long have you been playing, Joe? How long have you been playing?
Since 4th grade or so.
4th grade.
Yeah.
I started when I was 14 playing for money.
6th grade, sorry.
Well, I was older.
That's a little bit better.
Yeah, that's true. But to find, the similarities that Joe and I have discovered in the short time that we've been together is frightening. Frightening. Maybe we'll talk about some of those. If anybody has whiskey, pass it around. This is going to get really good the second set. But it's just been kind of amazing, the similarities that Joe and I have in our taste of music, our love for music, our love of writing, all that kind of stuff. But you didn't come here to hear all this stuff. We're going to tell you all this stuff anyway, no matter what. I'm going to tell you, but we have family here, and it's a wonderful thing.
Turned out really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, big hand for yourself. So I'd like to introduce my band.